Good evening and a warm welcome to a new edition of the North Bank Summit. It's Monday evening. It's 8:30. Welcome to the Mr. Arsenal podcast and the Highbury Fans Forever YouTube channel as we speak all things Arsenal. We look ahead to the weekend where we got Nottingham Forest. We will have a little look back at the past. We'll look at the Liverpool game again. We'll discuss some of the transfers. And yeah, we might even tap onto about Declan Rice's goal on Saturday, give England a little bit of coverage, eh? But before we start, just want to give a warm welcome to my three good-looking guests, and the first one of Andy. How you doing, mate?
Really well, thank you very much, and good-looking. You need to adjust that camera. Yeah, looking forward to tonight, though.
Yeah, it should be a good one, mate. It should be a good one. I know you're munching at the lip to talk about last week still, so I will give you your airtime for that. But before we do that, just to say good evening to George. How you doing, George, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. I thought I was the one with the eyesight issues when you said good looking. So, yeah. but no, not too bad, thanks, mate. Just been a busy day.
And good evening to Mr. Brooksy himself. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, all good. Quite a busy weekend, and I feel absolutely knackered, to be quite frank. But yeah, I'm all good.
You was in Chelmsford, weren't you?
Back. I was, the BBC Two Radio in the park on Saturday. Yeah, it was a good day, long day. You know, you're getting old, and you're like the next day, you're like, oh. But, it was nice to have a little break from Arsenal. But then you're looking forward to it again because international football is so boring. But even Scotland are winning at the moment. That's how dire it is.
Don't get Rosie excited. Don't get her excited. Anyway, before we go,
there's plenty of time for it to go wrong.
Especially when it's Scotland. Anyway, just do some hellos. A lot of people in the chat already, which is great to see. Hello to Catherine. Good to see you in the chat. Good evening, Mr. Barwick. How you doing, mate? G's in the house. Good evening, G. Pete Griffin's in the house. Should we say Pete G? I think I'm on the Cannon Jones again. I'm talking. Here he is, Mr. Copey's in the house.
Oh, what a treat. Mr. I'll come on the show one day. There he is.
Maybe one day, mate. Maybe one day.
Mark,
good evening to Margaret. Good to see you on. Good evening to Laura. Good to see you on as well. Good evening to Gunnar Detroit himself.
What a legend.
An absolute legend. Looking forward to seeing him soon. Rumour is there might be some drinks soon as well.
Yeah,
as I said to him last night, there's a beer tap on there.
Yeah.
Good evening to Mr. Herbert. How you doing, Anthony? The legend's in the house, Mr. Jones himself. Good evening, mate. I know he's away this week. Good evening to Tarek. Cool, we got loads in here, guys, already.
Yeah, go on.
Good evening to Jeanette. Good to see you.
Says international football. Everyone's bored.
Talking about international football in Scotland. Good evening to Rosie. She's saying, is this a show about you talk about Rangers women beating Celtic women in the Old Firm yesterday? Didn't know about it to be on the show. I'm surprised you didn't tell me, to be fair. But yeah, good evening to everyone. So what we're going to do, we are going to go back to the Liverpool game, sadly, and we're going to let Andy have his 2 pence in terms of obviously how he kind of see it. So given a week on, Andy, and I've got to be honest, I'm still very disappointed, if I'm being totally honest, with the manager and his selection on that game. And I just felt that I still feel that it was a pretty negative lineup in terms of how we approached the game. And I thought Liverpool were there for the taking, and I thought it was our best opportunity in a long time to go there and try and get 3 points. So I'm quite interested to see how you felt about it and I suppose as well with Eze signing and that player that you've been really wanting to get into the club. Was you disappointed that he didn't start in that game?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought as soon as I seen the team sheet and Eze wasn't involved, straight away you're thinking, has he just dropped back into this kind of let's just go there and not concede kind of thought process? You just spent all the money on one of the best players in world football right now, and you're playing Martinelli over him. Now, I know I keep going back to Martinelli, and I'll probably get slaughtered now for this, but he hasn't produced for I don't know how long. We're sick of seeing the same old. The one thing he offers us, and he's amazing at it, is his effort and his commitment and his tracking, his work ethic. But to actually giving us something in attack, he offers us nothing. And we sit with Eze on the bench. Now, Eze is that good that he can walk into any team and play anywhere. So the reason for not playing him, I still can't get my head around, and I was fuming with the team when I first seen it. And I think I've been Mikel Arteta's sort of biggest advocate as well. You know, I think he's been amazing, but I do think we've come to a point where we need to sort of cross a line at the moment, because we get to this point where we will go and then we'll almost not want to play. We're one of the worst teams to watch sometimes.
Yeah,
and we have this about us, yet we've got all this attacking talent. You know, and I think we all thought through the summer with the signings that came, and especially with Eze to kind of cap it all, that we might see a bit more flamboyant kind of way of football, but it's still ponderous. And the fact that he didn't start, I was shocked with. The other thing I would say, though, that for me is, we talk about the bravery of Arteta, and I don't know whether he even thought of it, but there was a point midway through the second half, probably not long before they scored, probably, when you could see it wasn't working. We didn't look like we were going to score, but it looked like we were going to be safe. It looked like it was going to filter out into a 0-0. But there was a point when he started to make his substitutions, and I thought, this is where you need to show a bit of balls. Take Gyökeres off. You've got Marino who's played the end of last season as a false 9, and we had a phenomenal little spell with him up there. He is probably the best finisher that we've got. His link-up play is outstanding. We're watching him go and score hat-tricks through the week there for Spain against Turkey with no mugs. You know, we've got this this worked for us last season. So what's wrong with the last 25 minutes? Just saying to Victor, like, get yourself off. We're going to change it a little bit, maybe chuck Ethan on or whatever. Let's shake it up a little bit, because as you just said, and I think we all felt it, they were there for the taking. And over the course of the 90 minutes, there was nothing between the two teams. It looked like it was going to filter out into a 0-0. Because Liverpool huffed and puffed second half a little bit, but I never felt as though we were in any sort of trouble. But we also didn't do nothing going the other way. And for a system that that is there with the players that we have to revert to for the last 25 minutes, why not put Marino up top? Why not try something different? Victor Gyökeres, you can see the players still don't know how he fits into the system. He's probably scratching his head thinking, where's it all going to come from? And it will come together. But it's his second game. There's nothing wrong with whipping him off. Go back to the format that worked. Marino was phenomenal last season when he went up there. It was phenomenal. And he's the best finisher we've got. So stick him up there. No, you stick him up there and you've got Madueke flying down one side. You have Eze flying down the other. And a great link-up player, probably one of the best link-up players that we've got to offer. And we don't do it. And for me, that was almost, even with the substitutions that can be classed as all right, it was like for like more than anything. But there wasn't a willingness to go out there and grab the game by the balls and go and win it. And we need that mentality if we're going to go and see this season through. That's the mentality we need, and I don't think right now that we've got it.
I find this comment interesting from H, because he says the fact that he doesn't make substitutes at half time is a sign that maybe he doesn't trust the bench. I'm not really unsure how he cannot trust a bench that kind of materialised with the players that he's now got on it. Like,
we've been waiting forever for that. We've been waiting for so long to see a bench like what we've got to offer now.
This has been Arteta's biggest, my biggest criticism of Arteta over the years, that he doesn't use his squad and use his bench. Where now I don't think there's any right for him not to be able to use that bench. I think that bench is as good as you're likely to see, if I'm being totally honest, in world football. In world football, that is as good as a bench that you're likely to see. And I guess this is the piece, isn't it, Andy, that actually now there is no fallback, is there? The owners have spent the money. They've spent massively. Yet again, we spent a lot of money, but we didn't bring in a lot whatsoever. And that's due to kind of poor business that's happened in the past in terms of how we kind of reward players in a certain aspect. But Arteta, for me, hasn't got nothing to fall back on now. He's got everything that he's asked for and more. He's been supported in terms of money better than any manager ever at Arsenal Football Club. It's time to deliver now, isn't it?
Has to be. Without a shadow of a doubt. You know, he's been waiting all this time, and we know there's been rumblings of the fact that he wanted more money spent on players from time to time. They've now delivered tenfold in this summer. So this season, it'll be interesting, won't it, to see how, if we get in as the season carries on, if it doesn't keep the momentum doesn't pick up, and we keep kind of just limping along. When will the pressure really start to tell on Arteta? Because he has to deliver this season. And honestly, I can't tell you that I would love nothing more than that manager to deliver us everything. But right now, something doesn't feel right still. Now, I know it was only one game and it was Liverpool, but whether we're biased or not, but for me, man for man now, we have a better side than Liverpool. I genuinely believe that. And with the system that we play and the system that they play, I do believe right now that we should be a better team than them with the squad that we've got.
In terms of this is an interesting comment. I want to kind of get onto, and it's obviously with Saliba going off injured.
Yeah.
I didn't really understand that either. Like if he pulled up in warm up. This is a slight issue that I have as well, because if I remember Timber's injury back in 2020, was it 23, 24, when he started against Nottingham Forest and he got pushed back on in the second half, and then we lost him for the whole season. Why do we keep doing this? Like, would this be more the player maybe potentially not making it as bad as it could have been to try and get out there, or do you think it would have been a coaching decision?
Yeah, I think sometimes, having been in that situation before, all you want to do as a player, you want to play. And so when the manager says to you in the dressing room, how's it feeling? You're just like, yeah, well, I'm going to be all right. But there comes a point where, especially the speed of his injury, where a bit of professionalism has to come into it as well from Saliba's perspective, because you can't play against Liverpool not fully fit. That'll be the difference between us winning or losing a game. So you've got to be open and honest about it. And if anything, you hold your hands up and say, I'm not 100%, and then you've got Mascara to come in, and then you got another fresh pair of legs on the bench as well. So yeah, it was disappointing in the end, but yeah, the question marks have to be asked sometimes of the medical sort of side of it.
On a positive though, Mascara come on, and I thought he had a really assured game, considering that he come on probably in the pressure cooker of Anfield. Let's be honest, probably the toughest place at the moment to go, especially in English football, if not world football. I thought he done really well. Yeah,
he looked the part, didn't he? He looked a bit nervous to begin with, without really making many mistakes. But you could see with his first few touches, he was a bit nervous. But he just grew into the game, and in the end, I almost forgot Saliba wasn't there, because he was that accomplished in that position. You kind of forgot Saliba wasn't there, and it was just, you were just looking at the defence. So yeah, he looks a hell of a prospect, and to come in at, what is he, 22?
Yeah,
and as you say, go into that cauldron and go and hold your own against the best team in Europe potentially. Yeah, he's done ever so well.
Just a question coming from Andy Mayer here, and sometimes I had this conversation. Do you feel sometimes that he maybe needs a stronger number two? Someone's helping back his decisions. Yeah,
I do. Yeah, because ultimately we do this thing where we make our substitutions on about 70 minutes. And it's the same old. But and that might work in a lot of the games. But there are certain times when you've got to change things. You go in at half time and you've got to change things. Yeah. For me, you could see that it wasn't working with Martinelli in the first half. I'd have whipped him at half time and put Eze on. Then the sooner I'd have got him on, the better. But it's a massive frustration. And that's where sometimes you need a number two who goes, actually, we need to change this. This has to change. And be brave enough to actually have that conversation with the manager, rather than just sit there all nicey and we talk and we look at our computer screens. Someone needs to make some big calls sometimes, I think.
Yeah.
And Arteta probably needs a bit of help with that. So sometimes it might be that transfixed with what's going on. He's not seeing other things. And that's where your number two can come into it and really, have that word in his ear. And you like to think the manager's got him as his number two because he's willing to listen to him and what he can bring to the table. So, yeah, it's a massive frustration now that we're seeing it time and time again.
Last question I'm going to ask you before I move over to the other chaps. Do you think, a question from Laura, do you think there's more pressure on Arteta to provide, because obviously what the women team have achieved as well?
Yeah, absolutely. You've seen the coverage the women have got from going out there and winning the Champions League and what have you. There's got to be, because it's all all of the media was on the women, you know, and it begins to stack up. I guess it makes you're looking down the corridor and you're seeing all the women cheering and because they're winning cups and things, and then all the lads are all looking at that thinking that, you know, that should be us really.
Going to go to you, John. Obviously we've discussed the Liverpool game, but looking coming out of that Liverpool game now, what kind of changes are you expecting to hit into the kind of weekend from that Liverpool game?
Well, injuries. I presume Eze will start. I mean, there'll be uproar if he don't, let's be honest. I mean, Marino's just scored a hat-trick away from home. I mean, I presume Gyökeres will start. I know Sweden were currently losing 2-0. I don't know if it's still away at Kosovo. So, and Saliba, they reckon's about for 3-4 weeks. Is that roughly what they're saying? So,
Yeah.
So I guess Mascara will deputise. I presume Calafiori and Timber and Raya and Gabriel will be tickety-boo. Yeah, I mean, he's got no excuse really not to play his strongest team at home. The pressure's on again. If we don't beat Forest at home, there'll be even more. We have to win fairly well. Lunchtime kickoffs at home are always a bit funny for us. You know, I mean, Forest, it's a good time to play Forest because they just got Dick Quinn out of West Ham, but they've just had a break. If we played them this weekend just gone, we could have, you know, really kicked them when they were down. But obviously they've had time to regroup. But we should be beating Forest at home. And yeah, you'd expect us at your start. But we don't know now, do we? Arteta's got everyone guessing. So
I suppose one thing though, John, it is good to have the teams guessing. Because this is the thing about having a massive squad. I personally, I'm actually 100% certain that Eze will start on Saturday. Like, I don't think there's an if, but, or maybe about it. Like, it's a home game. Totally agree. It would have been ideal to play Forest last week, but let's be honest, it's not on Forest. No disrespect to Nottingham Forest, but
you're right. No.
They're a club that, if we're being totally honest with you, there's issues within the board and the management team at the moment.
Definitely.
Performances haven't been as good. Maybe a little bit getting found out a little bit after last season. I think we should be beating these guys very comfortably, if I'm being totally honest. 2-3-0. I just think that with the squad we've got now and the options Mikel Arteta has, and especially after what I see against Leeds, potentially the first half weren't that great, but we got the team now. Do you know what I mean? And we need to use the players. And like even after 60, 70 minutes, bring it. If we're winning 2-3-0, take the 3 or 4 players off, bring these other players on. Like, do you know what I mean? When we're comfortably winning, this is when you want to start bringing on the likes of one area. And I've got to be honest, this is just going back to the Leeds game. One area had a really, really good game when he come on for the injured Odegaard, and that was at the point at a tight game.
He scored today as well for the under 21s.
There you go. And I've just seen, obviously, from H earlier on, saying that obviously he feels that he's not trusted. I know that in the past stream, when I said about Old Trafford, I couldn't see one area being brought on in them kind of games. But if he's on the bench and he's producing, he needs to start playing more, doesn't he?
No, definitely. I mean, obviously, you've got the Champions League starting again next week as well. So you'll have an eye on that because, again, you want to get off to a good start in that. And obviously, the game's going to start coming thick and fast. So, yeah, I think we can see a few changes for us, possibly. I mean, Lewis Skelly hasn't started the game yet. I know he played for England the other day. So, you know, you could see him coming in, but you don't want to change too much because he's got to be mindful. We've got to win. So, you know, get the job done and then move on to Bilbao because, I mean, as it's been alluded to, Laura thinks, you know, the pressure's on him. You know, every game is now. I mean, you see what it was like when we lost to Liverpool. We've got fans calling for him to leave and all sorts. And it's going to be like that every game. It's just ridiculous. It's such a high pressure on him now. Yeah, you do wonder. I mean, we just got to keep winning because we've got too many idiots around. Yeah, it just could create a nasty situation.
And just going over to you, George, obviously quite a lot of faults throughout, obviously, that conversation. With Eze coming in, do you expect him to start on the left-hand side in place of Matt Martinelli?
I hope so. I just I don't get the hype from Martinelli, to be honest.
I don't think there's any hype anymore, Jules, to be
The
honest.
last good game I saw him have was that Chelsea game, I think, and that was years ago. But yeah, I think he has to come in, obviously, on the left. I don't think there's really any option, to be honest, because, like you guys have said, we need to put like another statement down against Forest. With the pressure with Arteta, I kind of agree with it and I disagree with it because I think it's been there for such a long time. Because if you actually read online, when it was looking like we was going to sign Benjamin Sesko, everyone was saying Arteta had to go. Or like, so I just think for some reason Arteta's always had, I'd say, especially in the last 12, 18 months, maybe where we got so close, from that moment, he's always had pressure from people online saying, oh, if he doesn't win this, he's got to go. And I think it's really hard. I think we need to win a trophy, but I think what the problem I have with it is, I don't think it's as black and white as that, because if we do what we done the other season and really, really push and hit 90 points, just for example, and we get screwed over in a refereeing decision and that loses us the title, that's not on Arteta, is it? Do you get what I mean? Like, but if we're like about 10, 15 points away from it, then yeah, there's a lot of pressure. So I do think it all depends, and it might sound, people might say, oh, you're making excuses, but I'm not. It's how many throughout seasons, how many just games have been cost us by refereeing, like dodgy refereeing decisions, like obviously Rice, Brighton, Trossard, City, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I think it's not as easy to say, oh well, if he doesn't bring us a title, or if he don't bring us a trophy home, then he's got to go.
I think playing devil's advocate here though, which I like to do. I'm on the understanding, probably not actually this season is potential. Oh, sorry guys.
Whoa.
Oh, it's Liam's evil twin.
Yeah, he's mentioned the devil, and that's
yeah, there you go.
I don't know why that come on.
Oh, they've left the evil one.
Yeah. he's definitely the evil one.
Treat for the ladies.
I'm on an understanding that actually the one of the requirements this year is that a trophy needs to come home. Now, I totally agree with you. I think I think the problem is, right, if we lose by one or 2 points, right, I'll tell you what the problem's going to be now. We're going to look back to this Liverpool game, which is at the start of the season. We are going to look back to this Liverpool game and think, and maybe there will be questions like, what if we had been more adventurous in that game? Now, I think where Mikel's got to get better is in the cup competitions, because he needs to protect himself, and that is where he's not protected himself. Now, it did get better last year, if we're being frankly honest, because actually we got to 2 semi-finals, so there was an improvement. But let's be honest, the Newcastle performance was I thought was pretty shambolic, really.
Even the Man United one, mate, like it wasn't great.
No, it wasn't. And this is where the attitude's got to be different now. And I think he's been let down in the past, if I'm being totally honest. Like that Manchester United game, he was let down by his forward line. Like, we should have had that game out of sight after 50, 60 minutes, and we didn't. Havertz decided to have an absolute nightmare. Odegaard obviously missed a penalty, he has been let down. He has been let down in times by these players, and this is the piece now, right? How many times are you going to let people kind of let you down? Now, my other issue with Martinelli is, right, Ramsdale. The way I look at this right now, right, Ramsdale got removed out of that team for much less. Yeah. If we're being totally honest with you, Ramsdale, Martinelli's had these great moments, but them great moments, as Andy says, are very minimal now. I remember last year, and I'm not even going to look at the Real Madrid game, because do you know what, right? We was 4-1 up at the time going into the last minute. Real Madrid, the game was done, mate. The game was done. They knew it was done. He just ran for clean through. He still had to put the ball in the back of the net, but I'm not looking at that as being like a defining moment. The only game I can recall last year that I thought he was superb was the Brighton game at home. I thought he was really good, but it's very minimal. And I felt that on Sunday, yet again, he let Mikel Arteta down. And how many more times is Mikel Arteta going to let him down as such? And I watched a goal the other day. Someone sent me a goal over, and if you remember it, do you remember the Theo Walcott goal against Chelsea? It was an evening game. And I'll tell you why I thought of this goal, right, is because Fabregas dinked it through, right, and Walcott went through on goal and buried it. But if Martinelli was in that position, he's got all the ability and all pace to do it. But you know what? He wouldn't even make the correct run.
No.
And that's the difference. Do you know what I mean? That's the difference at the moment is his football intelligence for me. And the problem is, right, because we're at a level now where we need to go the next step. We need every player to deliver on that pitch, because when you look at Man City, what they've achieved over the last 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, whatever. You look at Liverpool, they went head to head with Man City every year, hitting 90 odd points and still not winning the league. I think they hit 98 one year and didn't win the league. Do you know what I mean? That was ridiculous. Like, we have to win. We have to win a lot. And I see this Liverpool team at the moment because I don't see many teams being confident enough to go there or get home or away and beat them. Because we've seen it before with Man City. Teams have defeated him before they started.
I tell you what worries me, Liam, and I'm as people know, I'm a massive Arteta fan, probably like Andy. What worries me now is I don't think deep down that Arteta believes that he can go to a City or a Liverpool away and win and get us to that title. Just gone on the way that he's changed. Like, you look how great we was playing when we just missed out. Imagine if we signed Eze and Gyökeres at that time, we would have been like, yeah, that's what we needed to get us over the line.
Yeah.
And I just feel like we've regressed since then. It's like he wants to control these games. And let's be honest, we went to Liverpool and controlled most of that game, but we offered nothing. So it's all right controlling it. So it's I don't know, just from my point of view, we've gone to, we'll be so defensively strong, nick a set piece goal, and that's it. That's not what we're about for me.
Yeah, I do
and that's
agree
a big
with
thing for me, like, to say that about Arteta, because that's probably the biggest criticism I've had. I don't think we're getting better. I think we are going backwards because we've got the squad. Like, I'm not being biased. I think our squad's a lot better than Man City's at the minute. You take Erling Haaland out on his day from that Man City team, they have nothing. Liverpool, we all know, but defensively, we're one of the best teams in the world when we're on our day. But I don't know. Arteta, I'm getting Southgate vibes. I can't believe I've said that.
It's already been mentioned in the group tonight once already. I think that, and I'm going to go to Andy at this. I think the problem at the moment is, right, I think he tries to play the game from the sideline too much, and I think right, and I'd always go back to the Declan Rice free kick where actually it come out after that the coaching team wanted him to cross it in, The coaching team, in my opinion, Andy, and you've been a player, right, shouldn't even be getting into them decisions at the time. You should be trusting your players on that pitch to make them decisions and make the right decisions.
Yeah, without a doubt. I can't believe how much the game's changed. We would spend so much time on the training ground doing drills from corner kicks to kicks out wide or defensive. You'd be doing them till you're blue in the face. It was the worst sessions ever, but they were so important. And yet, I can see the players looking over to the bench to see what they want us to do for the set piece. These are world-class football players. You're telling me that they can't make their own little minds up and just tell each other what's going to happen? I can't get my head around how the game's changed. In fairness, though, it's not just us, you know. If you look at the Premier League, they're often looking across at the bench to make sure they're doing get the right signal or they've got the right corner together. So it's that's a massive frustration for me. I don't understand at all what that's all about. But just going back to your point, you were just saying before, I forgot what I was going to say now. On it will come to me, Liam.
That's all right.
What were you talking about just before? Give me a prompt. Just before that, you said I was going to go to Andy about. Sorry, yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's it. Sorry, Arteta he has players that you said there. You used Martinelli as an example. are letting him down. But ultimately, as the manager, you're responsible for them players.
Yeah,
you're at the top of you're at the top of the tree, so you're the one that has to get shot at. There's nobody else that picks the team. There's nobody else. How much? I mean, obviously we don't know this, but like how much time has been spent on the training ground with Martinelli in them situations? Because I keep seeing him doing the same thing over and over and over again. I don't know how many weeks and years we've been saying it on here, Liam. And at some point you've got to say, well, so clearly when he burst on the scene, he was this fresh face, he was lightning quick. Nobody knew what the hell to do with him. Now people have sussed him. There's no plan B though, Martinelli. No. Whereas Saka can go inside, outside, he'll play off the front man, he'll just go and take him on. He'll make his own mind up and go. That's why he's world class. Martinelli hasn't got the ability to do that. He can only play on instinct. If something happens in an instinct and he has to make a really quick snap decision and action, he generally does pretty well. When he has to think about what he's got to do, that's when it goes wrong, because he hasn't got that natural footballing brain. He can't have to keep running, even at this level. Who in world football, apart from Martinelli, goes on sprints with their head looking straight down at the football? The kind of fundamental things that you're taught as kids. Get your head up, be aware of what's around you. Because sometimes he hasn't got a clue. He's got the blinkers on. But the frustration comes from the fact that we see it week in, week out as well. We know what we're going to get from Martinelli. What does the manager do? He's almost like, is he throwing him to the lions? Is he trying to make a statement? But basically, get him off. You're an £80 million signing, sat on the bench, to come and take him. I guess in the past, maybe he's been around and there's not been many... there's been people injured, and then he gets a few problems, and then he can come in. But it's all down to the manager, and I think this season is a massive test of how we're going to find out about Arteta so much this season, and how we can he tick this squad of players, who's the envy probably of most of world football, and go and win a trophy or two. Tottenham won a trophy last season. There's nothing worse for us that they've actually won a trophy. I couldn't give a shit that they finished fourth bottom. They still finished with a trophy. We didn't.
I'm going to go to John first, and I'm going to put a few alternatives in that I've been thinking about. Joseph saying Odegaard. He's saying that basically he thinks that Odegaard and Martinelli need to be dropped for Eze and Ethan. Is that something you would agree with, John?
No, people just being stupid. You're not going to drop Odegaard. Sorry, I mean, come on. Yeah, I mean, Eze, yes, even though he's not a winger, and I do worry that we're going to shoehorn him into Eze to being a winger when he doesn't play there for Palace, and all his good games have not come from playing on the wing. That's my one concern. I wouldn't mind seeing against what you lot think, but some of the lesser teams, well, having Zubimendi. And then maybe even giving Rice a little rest. Either put an Eze with Odegaard, or Odegaard with Noni. Do we really need to have Rice and Zubimendi all the time? Why not? And let go of the handbrake. Make it a bit attacking. I mean, imagine how excited people would be. Zubimendi, Noni, Eze, Odegaard, all playing this together. And Saka when he's back, it would definitely be something different. But no, I don't agree with that. I mean, Odegaard, I do worry he's becoming a scapegoat as well. I just think.
Does he need to raise his
He does, and I think he will when he comes in against Liverpool. I thought he looked fairly sharp, to be fair. I mean, he didn't look like he was carrying much of an injury. I mean, again, I question that decision. Could he have started? Saliba wanting to play with a dodgy ankle, and he only done his shoulder. I mean, you ain't got to kick a ball in your shoulder, so. I don't know. I think Odegaard has done enough to give us all that, so we can give him the benefit of the doubt. Martin at least had his go, and now we've had enough. But Odegaard, last year was very frustrating. A lot of injuries and a new baby and a few other bits and pieces. Obviously, this year he has got a crack on, and obviously, he's got a nice striker to play with. But yeah, you can't drop him at the moment. No.
I do agree with Brooksy there quickly about the Odegaard scapegoat thing, because I think it's easy.
It's such a loss of thing, that George. Everyone just wants to slag off their own players.
Where are the people? And I am going to be controversial. Where are the people when Bukayo Saka's having a bad game? saying
Yeah,
that. Where are the
everyone saying
people
that,
when
no.
Declan Rice has had a bad game?
And
You don't,
Saliba.
and Saliba, you don't hear.
No.
You don't hear. I don't think you hear it as much, but because it's Martin Odegaard and Gabriel Martinelli, which some of it's just. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is, if to be an Arsenal, being an Arsenal fan, surely you've got to be level-headed to be able to say, hold on, yeah, one of my favourite players has had an awful game. That dropping Odegaard, I don't know if I would drop him. I'd think it's hardly him because I think Eze should be at 10, but I just think that the scapegoat thing it is so real there. Like, and I think Martin Odegaard unfortunately has fell into that trap once again. Like, I don't think he's been the worst player on the pitch sometimes, but I don't think he's been the best. But I
And he's
just
captain
think,
as well.
yeah, and
The
So
headlines the headlines and pressure that then creates. Oh, Arteta's dropped his captain. Crisis at Arsenal. Blah blah blah. You know.
But is he exempt from being dropped?
Oh no, not at
No.
all. Not
No.
at all. But I
Shouldn't
don't think
be.
at the moment it deserves to be dropped.
but then
Because
no
Only 3
players
games
should.
gone. He's only
But
played
then
1.5 games.
but then none of the players should be exempt.
Stop playing the devil's advocate.
But then none of the players should be exempt though, should they?
We're talking about Eze. No, we're talking about Eze. You can play at number 10. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're talking about one area who's in there. So actually, it's a position that there's a lot of flexibility, isn't there, in terms of performance, and it should be performance based. And like, I don't know, I'll be totally honest here. I'm not totally with the captaincy being that kind of player personally, but I come from an older generation where, do you know what I mean? Where I like a good old centre back. Do you know what I mean? Who's
Big
reliable, who's going to be, who knows,
Gabriel.
Yep.
like Gabriel, for example. You know, Gabriel is going to play week in, week out. So I do think it puts a bit more pressure on because he is the captain and he is expected to play each week. But at the same time, if your performances ain't right, and we look at the centre backs now, the 2 centre backs they've got in can now easily come in and replace Saliba and Gabriel if and when needed. Like the level of quality we've got as centre backs, you would never see. You won't see in world football anywhere else.
That's what my
you know
issue
what I mean?
is, Liam.
Nowhere else.
Obviously, we've seen if you listen to some of the fan base, if Saliba sounds like I'm hating on Saliba, but I'm just using an example. If he's had a bad game or 2 or 3 bad games, all they say is, "Oh well, everyone's bound to have a bad game." If it's Odegaard, he should be sold. Oh, should we try and cash in 30-40 million for Odegaard? I just mean, I'm not saying he's exempt from criticism because I don't think any player in that team should be. Like, for example, Raya. Me and you have had difference in opinions with Raya. But do I think he should be should he be blamed for that Liverpool goal? No. But there's people in the fan bases say, oh, it was his fault. But if he's playing bad, do I think Kepa should come in? Yeah. Because that's the whole point of having a great squad, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Right, the goal for Liverpool was not his fault whatsoever. Like, it's a worldie, isn't it? What I do have an issue with Ray about at the moment, is the amount of loose balls that he's playing through the middle of the park. But yeah, again, is that because what he's being coached and the expectation and the pressure? And I guess when you've got a ball playing goalkeeper, and let's be honest, he's got the toughest job in the world in passing the ball. Because actually, if he cocks up passing the ball, there's a very good chance that it could lead to a goal, where everyone else has that security as such. But I do agree. Like the David Raya I don't fault him whatsoever for the goal. It's a world class strike, and sometimes you just got to take your hat off and say, do you know what? He's found the top bins. It's an incredible strike from where he was at. You just got to say well done and move on. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what.
Yeah, I just think there's a couple of It happens every year that one player or 2 players become a scapegoat, and I think Odegaard's become that because even if he does have a good game, I think people won't praise him as they should.
I think he needs a consistency of good games, though. I think this is the thing with Odegaard. He hasn't had a consistency of good games. I think, ever since before the injury last year that he got, that's what harboured him. He got the injury. Did he come back too soon? Maybe. We don't really know, like how much they kind of rush these players back in, do we? Obviously, the baby was born at the same time. you don't know what's going on in the home life. You don't know what's going on, really, do we? Inside out. But
that's not our concern, though, is it?
For Martin Odegaard, no. I think for Martin Odegaard, no, exactly not. But I think for Martin Odegaard's perspective, he needs a run of consistent games now, and I think he needs to have the right players in the right positions to be able to produce. And now he's got them players. So he's got a number 9 that he can play a ball to. He's going to have Eze, who's going to be brilliant. I've got no doubts about that. Okay, Saka's not here, but let's be honest, Madueke has been absolutely superb for club and country. He's probably been the highlight at the start of the season in terms of his directness and his performances. It's time for these players to step up and not give people the opportunity. Like the squad's there now. Like it's about getting back to where we was in that 2023-24 season where we hit 89 points and consistently winning games week in, week out. And that's what we got to do now. And you do that, actually, you start.
Because I don't actually think Saka's been that great for a while.
But injuries again,
because from last season, when was it it might have even been before. What was the Champions League game where he played? Was it just before Spurs? Can't remember who he was playing, but he didn't need to play. Do you know what I mean? I can't remember who it was, but
even some of the cup games, like the Carabao Cup, there. It's just like,
and that does fall on Arteta for me because he needed. We know how shit he was, but if you're bringing Raheem Sterling on, you should be playing him ahead of Bukayo Saka in a game against Bolton or Derby or whoever it was.
What does that mean?
It is a comment I agree with. Totally agree with. It's unrealistic to think Arteta will drop Odegaard instantly. I don't think he will. However, he should manage his minutes more efficiently. And I think this is where, do you know what I mean? I think people got to remember with one area, right? He's just 18 years of age. And this is the piece, isn't it? Like, Arteta has to, this season, we're saying that he needs to win something. Like, I think it's incredible what the club are achieving with the youngsters already. When you see that we've got Lewis Skelly, Nwaneri, and Max Dowman all coming off the bench in Premier League games and having impact, it just shows you actually there is that other part where actually Arteta has got the courage to do the risks. And this is the thing, that he does show attributes where he does show it, but then there's other attributes where he doesn't show it. And I think it's just a little bit frustrating at times. And I think with that performance against Liverpool, it was very frustrating. And hopefully now we'll get all our new signings in. We'll get the team playing each week to what Arteta wants as his first 11, and we start moving on, because I said that this is the best squad I've seen. Like, this is better than the Invincible squad. Don't get me wrong, man for man, the Invincible 11 was by far the best team we've had. But when you look at a squad, Arsenal have never had a squad like this ever. So it's all down to Mikel now to rotate that squad, keep them fresh, because what you want is to go into that second part of the season. And that's what Pep Guardiola, Andy, was so good at, weren't he? He was really good at keeping the players fresh. And then that final furlong between February to May, you just couldn't touch Man City, could you?
It's City. Nobody's exempt from being dropped. And he's just a master of knowing when to move a player to one side, just rest them for a game or two, and then bring somebody else in. Yeah, he's an absolute master of it. But just going back to what the guys were saying just before there, I have to disagree. I think Odegaard is droppable. Personally, if it was me, I would drop him. Over the last 30 games that Odegaard's played, and go back to how he was in that season when he was just incredible. What has he actually delivered for us in the last 30, 35 games? There's not that many. George mentioned about Saka's not come back and not looking himself, and he hasn't just yet, but he still pops up with an assist, or he'll pop up with a goal. That's what Odegaard needs to be doing. And we're not seeing that side of it at all. So why not take him out of the starting lineup, put Eze in there, put Madueke out on the left, and have him coming down that side. There's no reason. There's so many options that we've got available. But I do personally think that Odegaard right now is droppable. He's not. Yes, he's the skipper. Yes, he's a phenomenal leader of the press. That side of it is great. Fundamentally, that's not what his job is, though. He's there because he's our link player. He's our little special talent that's going to unlock defenses with his bits of magic that we haven't seen for a season and a half. let's be honest about it. We haven't seen that from Odegaard on a consistent basis. If he was at Real Madrid, he would be taken out of the team. If he was at Liverpool, he would be taken out of the team. There's no reason why we can't make big decisions and take some of these players out, because he's not getting us assists. He's not getting us the odd goal. That's what he's there for. So why shouldn't you take him out? Why can't you put Ethan Maneri there? Give him a go. I know he's a kid, but chuck him in. I think he's ready for it. I'm pretty sure they think he's ready for it because they're quite happy to throw him on. At some point, someone's going to be brave enough to say to some of these players, you're not automatically getting picked here. Because for me, Odegaard's a massive frustration for me because he's got all the talent in the world and we can all see it. But that talent at the moment is nowhere to be seen. And it isn't. There's flashes, but there's no consistency at all from him. So to me, he should be droppable, yeah.
I think the worst thing for me that happened, and this probably in your timeline, Andy, as well, is when a couple of seasons ago they compared him to Kevin De Bruyne. And from then, I don't think, well, we both know what Kevin De Bruyne does, and I don't think he's been anywhere near that. So, like you say,
not on a consistent basis.
That's the level you're looking at, isn't it? Like, if you're being honest, like
yeah.
Pep Guardiola was dropping De Bruyne when he was scoring hat-tricks against Wolves. So
yeah, he dropped all of his players. Leroy Sané, he'd move him in and out of the squad. Bernardo Silva, especially as he's getting a bit older, he's a bit more selective on the games that he plays. But when he does play, when he does that, though, even the Bernardo Silvas of this world can have quiet games, but they'll still pop up with a brilliant assist or a little goal somewhere. And Odegaard he's not got that in his locker right now. So someone's got to try and coax that out of him, or he comes out of the side, because we've got players itching to play in that position who I truly believe could go in there and do a hell of a job for us.
That's why I want to be seeing Eze come in at 10, not on the wing, because I just, like you say, we have options. Like I don't think we're in this season earlier than everyone thinks. I think you'll see Max Dowman on the left. Just with what stuff has been said, come out of England recently, like last couple of days, I won't be surprised.
Like what have you heard?
Just the way the senior coaches there from like across the European teams are saying that he's as good and got the same as like ball control as Lamel. So
no pressure there. Then.
But this is what I mean. So. That's what the pressure's like.
I just want to say, obviously, a comment went up earlier. Just want to make aware that obviously we are very much, as a channel, we adhere to inclusion and diversity, and any comments that are obviously disappropriate within the chat, you will be timed out. So apologies for it going up, but it has gone down, and we have timed the person out. But moving onwards and upwards. Just looking obviously at some of the chat here on obviously H saying it's not his fault, it's the way they've been coached. The talent has been coached out of him, so he can't express himself the way he wants. Taxes have to be changed and support creativity. The thing is now, like obviously moving into this next stage, isn't it? Like I hate these international windows, if I'm being honest. And like we're gonna have the October one, we're gonna have the November one.
Rubbish, absolute rubbish.
Like, hopefully. And I hate the transfer window, to be fair. Like, I'm very much like, I think that this transfer window needs to be shut before the Premier League season starts.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, if you put that transfer window like at the start of August, teams would adhere to it and bring the players in when they need to bring the players in. So I think this is part of the big issue, isn't it? Like you got these players coming in like on the last week of August, and I think Mikel as well has been very much, hasn't he, that. Actually, you start seeing what team he really wants to roll out after the international break. We start looking in the past, like Ramsdale, he lost his position, didn't he? I think someone else lost their position after the international break. So I think it's the time when Arteta pretty much says, this is what I'm going for. So I'm hoping that will be the case this time round. And there is no excuse for there not to be creativity with the players we got. We got so much creativity within the team, and that's what makes it really frustrating for me, Andy, is that actually I look at these games that we don't win, and they're always 1-0. And now I'm going to play a bit of like a bit of devil's advocate once again, Ryan. I'm going to go back to you because I wanted to ask you this. This next 3 games is actually massive for Mikel Arteta. Absolute massive. Now, if he comes out with 3 wins against Man City, Forest, and Newcastle away, actually, it'll start looking much different, won't it? When you start thinking, well, they've got Old Trafford out of the way, they've got Anfield out of the way, they've got St James's Park out of the way, they've already played Man City at home. It could look really different, couldn't it? If we win our next 3 games, it could look really kind of promising because actually, there's grounds that we wouldn't want to go to second out part of the season that we've actually taken out the equation.
Yeah, absolutely. I think probably every fan show across the country at the moment saying the next 3 games are massive. But for us, we know that they are for Arteta, you know, off the back of the performance against Liverpool, which understandably has been criticised. They've had the break now. They've got the players back. Now it's going to be interesting, especially with a little group of games that are coming up. Let's see. It'd be interesting to see if we do see some rotation, though, because I think we might. You may see people like Timber come out for a game, bring Ben White in. You might see Calafiori come out. The ones who've had long-term injury issues, you might see them come out possibly. You might get Ben White and you might get Miles Lewis-Skelly at left-back potentially. Whether that's at home to Forest or whether that's at Bilbao, who knows? But the rotation I think will take effect, and I think he's got the squad that he's been dying for to be able to do that. So there literally is no excuses because everything's on a plate for him that he's asked for. It's now time to deliver.
It very much is so. I'm a bit worried that we might get another one of my ugly brothers pulled in a minute. We'll see what happens. When you try and be a little bit clever, it never works out. That's all I'm going to say. When you're trying to work from 2 laptops, but hey ho. But my main laptop, which I need to end the show with, has gone down, which is not ideal whatsoever. Just going over to you, Brooksy, as well. Like, are you like you got to be quite chuffed with the transfer window in a whole?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we all know what we wanted and didn't get. I mean, we want the winger, but it didn't happen. I still think the whole Rodrigo thing is very strange. He's sitting there not playing at all. But yeah, I mean, we wanted the striker. We wanted a few attacking options. He's made the defence even stronger. You got the likes of Norgard, who bless him hasn't played yet. But you know, it's solid additions. The players that are coming, they go. It's made the squad stronger, made the bench stronger. Andy talking about squad rotation. You know, you can move a few of them around, and the team is still going to be as strong. Like, you know, that back 4 and the replacements, it's the strongest defence probably in world football because it's just ridiculous. I mean, Lewis-Skelly's playing for England and he can't get an outing.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And Calafiori, I think he's been our best player so far. I think he's been sensational so far. He's been so good. And if he can stay injury-free, he's going to take some stopping because, he's just looking brilliant, I have to say. So, I mean, we've still got to see this Cappy. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've never seen him play. But all I'm hearing is good things. And, he looks like another warrior. You know, so it can only be a good thing. The competition for places has never been higher. So, just got to go out there and get the job done.
It's quite interesting you say as well, isn't it? Like with this new guy who's coming, like I haven't seen too much in terms of performances, but I've heard a lot about him in the past. But you can tell already when you look at a player, can't you? You think that actually this guy is obviously looking to be kind of one of the players that I think is an interesting signing because I do wonder if they brought him in to maybe convert into a left back because he's actually got a good engine and can whip a crossing. Now, if you've got Eze playing more like an inside playmaker at that left hand side, I think it could make sense, but in the same sentence, George, old Calafiori, I think, started the season really well, and it's actually a pleasure to see that he's actually fit for once and he's playing.
Yeah,
games.
but I'm really happy with seeing Calafiori play quite consistently as well. Because I was a bit worried he was going to be like another Tommy Acid, to be fair, but no, I'm quite happy like with Calafiori at left back, and I think like you said, Liam, obviously the players that we brought in that defensive position, it gives us the options And if like with Arteta, if he did want to change it, he could even play like 3 at the back and have wing backs bombing on. Like if you wanted that to be Skelly or and Timber, I just think it does give them options. So, but then the one we got from Leverkusen, he's apparently got quite a good left foot on him. So it gives you different options. Like we're getting the ball up to say Gokarej or Marino, whoever it's going to be up front. But yeah, I'm quite happy seeing Calafiori play, but I don't want him to like overplay him. But obviously because of the injuries he's had.
Yeah, no, definitely, and I think like I think the good thing about this one is I think it does give Arteta more flexibility, doesn't it, Andy? In terms of actually, he can go to a back 3 quite comfortably now if he wants to. He can go as a 4. Do you know what I mean? And then he's got different options with different fullbacks in terms of how he plays. Like he's got Timber who can invert. He's got Lewis Skelly who can invert. He's got obviously Calafiori, who's a totally different one, and this guy comes in, can play left back, left centre back. It's like as I said earlier on, there's not a better team in world football in terms of defensive strength that we've got anywhere else.
I think if you listen to interviews from players who played against us or coaches, everyone talks about Arsenal and Arsenal setups, particularly defensively, because it's not just your Gabriel and Saliba, the keeper, and a couple of fullbacks. It's the shape as a whole. Everyone drops into the shape. They all know their responsibilities. If players make runs, they know who's picking up runners. They know where they want the ball to go when they're pressing the ball. They know when to go on a really high aggressive press and when to set off. So the cohesiveness defensively is just unbelievable, which is why when we get beat, it's generally 1-0. It's for that reason. There's not many teams out there that will absolutely spank us at all because it's just a phenomenal unit. And we just need that cohesiveness to just click now going forwards because we have the players that I believe that we can have a multi-functioning unit going forward and coming backwards as well. Oh, Liam's gone.
Yeah, earlier Russ Morgan made a comment, George, would you drop Victor Gokres and put Mikel Merino up top? Now, I don't know if he was being tongue-in-cheek. I mean, Merino scored a wonderful hat-trick last night. I mean, I did think he was wasted against Liverpool. I mean, he didn't really get involved.
Yeah.
I do think his best position, he certainly seems to have got more of a taste for it. He scored a lot of goals last year. I watched a little compilation earlier, and that goal against Real Madrid really got overshadowed by Declan Rice. That was a wonderful goal.
Phenomenal.
I mean, what I said, it was, that technique, you pay, £100 million for that. And, I think he has been sort of taken for granted and kind of forgotten about a bit because obviously Havertz is back and they're like, we can play up front. But, Marino did that job when no one else could last year. And, I mean, it's a good option. I've said it's also because Gyökeres is a big, powerful boy, but he can well go out on the wing, for a bit and have Marino up top. It's just good to have another option.
I completely agree with you in relation to the Marino's best position. I think is a false 9. When he plays centre midfield, a bit like when he was at Anfield, he sometimes get the pace of the game
get a bit lost.
Looks like it's too much, and sometimes gets caught in possession, or he's a bit slow releasing the ball, or he gets a bit sloppy. Whereas when he plays with his back to the goal, which he often does as a like that false 9 role, he looks. He's just like he's almost like a Havertz, but with an ability to finish as well. And so for me, that would be the position I would utilise, and which is why I said before that I honestly would have taken Victor Gyökeres off against Liverpool and put Marino back up top because it's a formula that really brought us some success last year, apart from a trophy.
Just going on,
obviously George. Hello, he's back. There he is.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what's going on tonight. I've got internet issues massively. No, I was just going to go on you.
But I was just saying, look, Marino. I mean, George.
No, you carry on, mate.
No, yeah. So about Marino, George. Obviously, he linked up very well with Yamal last night, who was a very similar age, just a bit older than Max Dowman, George.
Yeah.
Now, do you think, obviously, I mean, you've already mentioned that there's a possibility that they see Dowman as starting a few games soon. So that could well be another, he obviously linked up with a good young lad last night, and Dowman looks so exciting. I mean, I think players are going to be queuing up to play with him. But do you think, I mean, it's a possibility he could start on Saturday too soon?
I don't think he'll start Saturday, but I can see him starting. I can see him starting a Premier League game before Christmas. If he's not started 2 or 3 before that, I just think like we're seeing him. Like he travelled to Liverpool and he came on against Liverpool away. Like, and I think that's what some people forgetting that as well. Like, no offense, they didn't do that with Ethan.
No, it's madness.
Around that time, so
it's just crazy. He's not even 16 yet. It's just.
I just think I think they think they've got a superstar on their hands already.
It certainly looks that way.
Well, he's looked like you think he come on for his debut and then against Leeds won a penalty. Like
he won a penalty for the under-19s the other day.
And he's breaking records for being like the amount of fouls on him and stuff, and that's the same thing what Lamau done and Saka at that age. So
they don't seem to know how to stop him. It just seems to be the same foul. He just seems to run into the box and they clip him and he's down. It's just...
You think
in some sense, he actually could be the perfect player for Saka to kind of to swap with from time to time.
Yeah.
When we're talking about rotation, you might see sometimes where Max Dowman starts on the right-hand side. That's his position. That's where he wants to play. It's where he's most comfortable. Let's get him out there and let him go and have a bit of fun. But also protecting Saka.
It's very exciting.
Saka now with this hamstring issue is going to need some massive protection. He can't play all these games that he's playing.
We can now afford to rest
him. So now we've got the player there
that
we can afford to rest him without weakening the side.
And I just think if you've got a player at that age who do you think's a superstar, like look at other teams and even us in the past. Fabregas was around that age, I think. If he wasn't a little bit older, Wayne Rooney when he was at Everton was around that age or a year older. So if I'm not saying Max Dowman has to play week in week out, but why not? I think he's better than Martinelli and Trossard now. So
it's very, very exciting. I mean, especially from an England point of view. Him and obviously you got the young lad at Liverpool, whose name I can't remember, the one that scored the winner at Newcastle, but he's just a little bit older. I mean, the future is very, very bright. Whether Tommy Tuchel's the man to get everybody excited, I don't know. But
got no fear, these kids. No fear whatsoever.
Absolute madness. It's brilliant. And yeah, you just hope we win a few more games, because what I worry is that Dowman comes in and, Arsenal fans are like, he has a couple of bad games and they just start slagging him off. It's just like, boy's not even 16 for fuck's sake. I mean, you've got to be careful, but then at some point, you've got to let them flourish.
Yep.
I'll let you carry on, John, because actually if I cut out again, I'll...
Yeah, no worries. I mean, to be fair, I think we're very nearly done in a way.
What?
I mean, we'll just...
No, go on.
We'll go on. No, to say, we might as well discuss the Forest game, the predictions for the Forest game, really. I mean, I'll go first. I mean, I'll say 3-0. I'm fairly optimistic. Touch wood, there's no injuries. Haven't heard nothing bad yet. The people that are playing, Calafiori, I don't know if he was playing for Italy tonight. I know they were playing away in Israel. But, yeah, and obviously, I presume Declan and Rice will probably play tomorrow. Possibly Madueke, Lewis Skelly. I think, don't know who else has got another game. I think Timber's played both his games. Gyökeres is playing now. So, yeah, Spain have finished. So, yeah, hopefully everyone comes back fit. And, yeah, I fancy our chance to handle Forest. You should be beating them. I'll go 3-0. George?
I'm going to go 2-0. I think they'll just try and get the job done and see the job out. We should be beating Forest at home, but they can still be dangerous as well. Yes. I think,
no, exactly. And
they will want to,
after losing 3-0 at home at West Ham, they'll want to exactly.
They want to bounce that, and obviously they've got people like Gibbs White, Chris Wood, all those players. But I think we should still have enough. But I'm going to go 2-0.
Lovely, Andy.
I think it's a great time to play them. I know they've had a bit of a break now, but I think the club's in a bit of a turmoil.
Yes.
The chairman's an absolute barn pot, and I think they've got the right manager in place.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the place is there's just something not sitting right at Forest, and to go and get gubbed by West Ham the way they did, it'll be interesting. But I really think they're there for the taking. I think it's a great time to play them, and I think we'll draw 1-1. Just kidding. I'm going to go 4-0. I think it'll be a good 4-0. We're going to bounce back because we've had a bit of criticism. Liverpool was a bit flat. This is the time to go back and just shove it in the doubters' faces.
Well, let's hope you're correct. If it's 1-0, it will be a very depressing show next week.
I know.
Yeah. And Liam, yourself?
Yeah, I think it'll be comfortable. I think we'll concede because actually I think we always leave ourselves a bit open. I think they've got the players to be able to score at our place. I'm going to go a comfortable 3-1.
Fair enough.
Yeah, because I presume have they got Europa League starting next week? Is that next week?
Yeah, they will have. Yeah.
So they'll have an eye on that as well. I mean,
The tournament they don't deserve to be in.
Well, yeah, it's a joke. Yeah. I don't even know they've got, but obviously they will have one eye on that as well. So it should, a good time to play them. Right, before we leave, is you happy?
Not from me.
No, not from me.
Yeah,
I've got it off my chest.
We'll wrap out there.
Off my chest. I can rest easy now.
You can see well tonight. That's it.
I'll see like a baby tonight.
Yeah, we'll definitely wrap it up here. Obviously, just got loads of content for this week. Cannon and Jonesy is actually tomorrow night instead of the normal Thursday night, as yours truly is going to a wedding on Friday. So he's travelling over there on Thursday. The wonderful Lewis.
Where's the wedding?
Lewis. Is it Lewis? Lewis. Near Brighton. Wait, East
Lewis.
Yes. Yeah, it's a funny little place, Lewis. In the bonfire night, if you don't live around there, you're not allowed to go. It's a big old event. It's a big old traditional thing, and if you don't live around there, you're not allowed to be there. It's quite a
Oh, you'll fit right in, Liam.
It's a funny. Yeah,
probably, mate. They'll probably have me on top of the bonfire, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Not letting him in.
They let me in, mate, just to put me on top of the bonfire. That's what they let me in for. So Cannon Jonesy tomorrow night. Queens of the Cannon has now been moved to Thursday. And then obviously you got your watch along on Saturday at 12:30 with obviously Ryan and the cast. When's the Arsenal women playing this weekend, John?
We play on Friday, so there'll be a joint watch along Friday.
Where are they playing?
Away West Ham in the concrete jungle at Dagenham.
So you got your watch along on Friday as well.
Should smash them.
And you got watch along Sunday. 4:30 will be the Manchester derby, so that's being obviously streamed out as well. So loads of content. Back North Bank Summit back next Monday to hopefully discuss another victory. But apologies for the internet tonight, guys. It ain't been great, but I'm going to get myself off. Have a good rest of your evening. Have a good rest of the week, and up the Arsenal. 3 points to
Good night.
Good night.
See you later.